The year I was most broke, I took $100,000 to impersonate my sister and take care of her blind fiancé. The day he regained his sight, I left without a word. The next time we met was at a business interview. I was a nobody, an intern journalist. He had his status back, the powerful young heir to the Hayes family fortune. He was in the middle of being interviewed. We hear that during your illness, you had your fiancée, Ms. Pierce, by your side the entire time. Are wedding bells in your future? A slight smile touched his lips as he lifted a hand, revealing a ring. Yes. We're getting engaged soon. But his gaze drifted through his lenses, landing, intentionally or not, on me in the corner. Before the interview started, the room was buzzing. The young heir we're interviewing today is the one calling the shots at the Hayes Corporation now. I heard he went blind 5 years ago and was even kicked out of the family. If his fiancée hadn't stuck by him, he probably wouldn't have made it. Shoo, keep it down. I sat to the side, forcing a smile. My nails dug deep into my palms. Suddenly, my mentor, Kevin, turned to me. Anna, could you go get me a glass of water? I had just reached the water cooler by the entrance when the main doors swung open. A familiar figure walked into my line of sight, and my mind went completely blank. In 3 years, Leo Hayes had changed entirely. His once slender, boyish frame was now tall and imposing. The lines of his face were sharper, more severe. Those eyes, once clouded and misty, were now piercingly cold. Excuse me. He spoke coolly, his gaze sweeping over me through his glasses as if I were a complete stranger. He didn't pause for even a second. Surrounded by a few bodyguards, he walked onto the stage. As he passed me, he left a trail of a cool, woody cologne. I froze, and it took a few seconds for the reality to sink in. The 2 years I spent by his side were when Leo was at his absolute lowest. He had been cast out by his family and blinded in a car accident. Of course, he wouldn't know what I looked like. Maybe it's for the best. By the time I returned with the water, the interview had already begun. Leo sat on stage, fingers interlaced under his chin, calmly surveying the audience. He was answering questions about business strategy. Suddenly, a side door near the stage opened. Olivia Pierce walked in, smiling as she complained to Leo. Sorry I'm late, Leo. Something came up on set. Lifting the hem of her dazzling champagne-colored dress, she took a seat beside him. The room fell silent for a moment before erupting into a buzz of excited, romantic whispers. Kevin, holding his water, glanced at me, a look of discovery on his face. You know, Anna, you and Olivia Pierce look a little alike. I pressed my lips together and managed a weak smile. She's an A-list actress. You're flattering me. Of course, we look alike. We're sisters. We hear that during your illness, you had Ms. Pierce here by your side constantly. Is it true that you two are about to take the next step? My throat suddenly felt tight. I watched Leo on the stage. He curled his lip into a small smile and lifted his left hand to show his ring finger. On it was a simple, plain silver ring. The one I bought with money from a part-time job just to cheer him up. The prestigious young heir of the Hayes family, wearing such a cheap ring, looked completely out of place. He, however, seemed oblivious, gently stroking its surface. Yes. We're getting engaged soon, he said, his eyes scanning the audience. Deliberately or not, his gaze fell on me, in the corner. It lasted only a few seconds before he looked away. The microphone was passed to Olivia. Ms. Pierce, we hear you're currently filming director Lou's new movie. He rarely casts new actors. Did Mr. Hayes have anything to do with that? She smiled and admitted, of course. I've always been confident in my professional abilities, but I won't deny that Leo has done a lot for me. And I am absolutely worthy of that special treatment. Her poised and confident attitude won over the crowd. Someone asked, could you share a story about how you and Mr. Hayes supported each other through his darkest times? The smile on Olivia's lips suddenly froze. In the strange silence, time seemed to slow down. After a long moment, Leo let out a soft laugh and took the microphone. There's not much to tell. Our memories are private, just for the two of us. My eyes suddenly stung. I gripped my pen and lowered my head in a fluster. If I closed my eyes, the past came flooding back. As a teenager, Leo's arrogant and rebellious personality had made him a lot of enemies. After his fall from grace, people came looking for trouble. I tried to protect him and was pushed down a flight of stairs, leaving me covered in blood. The group got scared and ran off. I gritted my teeth, stood up, and pretended like nothing happened, walking back to his side. Let's go home. But Leo suddenly grabbed my hand. You're hurt. We're going to the hospital. I'm not. I can smell blood. His voice suddenly rose, and tears rolled from his misty eyes, like stars coated in dust. His young, not yet broad shoulders held me tight. When he spoke, he called out my sister's name, Olivia. When I get better, I'm going to give you the grandest wedding in the world. After the interview, the sky turned gloomy. A fine curtain of rain fell outside the venue. Kevin checked his pockets and started ordering me around again. Anna, I left the memory card inside. Go back and get it. I ran back, my feet splashing on the wet ground. The elevator number hit 1. The next second, the doors opened. I came face to face with the two people inside. Olivia was tilting her head, chatting with Leo about trivial matters from the film set. Although his expression was indifferent, he listened patiently. They looked intimate. Seeing me, Olivia's expression turned instantly sour. Sorry. I mumbled an apology, turned around, and was about to take the stairs. But Leo spoke from behind me. Stay. I froze. Don't you need the elevator? Go on up. I turned back slowly, deliberately lowering my voice. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. He told me to use the elevator but didn't move out of the way. He just stared at me. Were you one of the reporters at the interview today? Why didn't I hear you ask a question? I lowered my eyes. Mr. Hayes, I just graduated and returned to the country. I'm still an intern, so I don't have questioning privileges. I see. He replied coolly, his thoughts unreadable. Beside him, Olivia shot me a venomous glare and said, We should get going, Leo. We have to meet Director Lou and the others tonight. Leo finally pulled his gaze away. Let's go. I stood alone in the ascending elevator, lost in a daze. After my parents divorced, my dad took Olivia and married into the wealthy Pierce family. I hadn't seen Olivia for as long as I could remember. But 5 years ago, she suddenly found me. I'll give you $100,000. You pretend to be me and take care of someone. At the time, my mother had just passed away from an illness, leaving behind a mountain of debt. I had no choice but to agree. Only when we met did I find out the person she wanted me to care for was Leo Hayes, the young heir of the Hayes family. He was also her fiancé, who had gotten into an accident shortly after their engagement was announced. A blind man, and a cast-off from a rich family? Who would want to take care of him? Her face was full of disgust. If I wasn't worried about my reputation, would have broken off the engagement ages ago. Back then, Olivia was just starting her career. She had landed a good role and her career was on the rise. Afraid of being called heartless and opportunistic, she dumped the thankless job on me. Leo had lived a charmed life for 18 years, and the sudden turn of events gave him a terrible temper. In the beginning, he constantly mocked me with cold, biting words. I was being paid to do a job, so I never talked back. Until one day, I went to the cemetery to visit my mom and got back a little late. He started venting his temper again. Olivia, stop putting on an act for me. Don't think I don't know you're disgusted by me. You're just afraid of what people will say. He never finished that sentence. Because I leaned down and kissed him. It was actually my first kiss, completely artless. Fueled by a spark of anger, it was more like a feral bite. But Leo fell silent. Even the tips of his ears turned bright red. You. With a bit of malice, I bit his lip again. Then I pulled back slightly, my hands on his shoulders, breathing heavily. Feel that? Still think I'm disgusted by you? I took the memory card down to find Kevin. He was very pleased. Anna, you're a real go-getter. Perfect timing. There's a networking dinner tonight. I'll take you along to meet some people. Connections are everything in journalism. I thanked him profusely. But when we arrived, I saw a familiar black Rolls-Royce in the parking lot. I froze instantly. Are Mr. Hayes and his group here tonight too? Kevin turned and winked at me. The dinner I'm taking you to is the one with Mr. Hayes. Don't underestimate your old pal Kevin's network. It was too late to back out now. I had no choice but to follow him inside. Fortunately, the private room was huge. Reporters like us were at a completely different table from Leo and his party. Kevin introduced me to many industry veterans. This is our new hire this year, a bright young woman named Anna Tang. Anna, come say hello to everyone. As the newbie, I couldn't avoid making toasts. By the end of it, my head was spinning. I barely managed to say excuse me before rushing to the restroom. I threw up everything. I rinsed my mouth, splashed cold water on my face, and walked out. The hallway was dimly lit. A familiar figure stood in the shadows by the window. My heart hammered against my ribs. I wanted to pretend I hadn't seen him and walk away. I had just taken one step when Leo spoke from behind me. His deep voice was laced with 1,000 complex emotions as he enunciated each syllable. Anna Tang. My feet froze to the spot. I swallowed hard, hearing footsteps approaching at a steady, unhurried pace. I squeezed my eyes shut. The footsteps stopped in front of me. A familiar scent closed in, inch by inch. I opened my eyes and met his, which were as deep as the sea. Mr. Hayes. My throat was tight with nerves. How do you know my name? I asked in a low voice. He didn't speak, just looked at me for a long moment before standing up straight again. Your mentor was parading you around, making toasts. Everyone in the room knows your name. Thinking of Kevin's booming voice, my face suddenly felt hot. I'm sorry. My mentor is very supportive of us newcomers, maybe a little too enthusiastic. If we disturbed you, I apologize. I tried to explain, afraid of getting Kevin in trouble. But Leo fell silent again. Under the warm yellow light, he narrowed his eyes, a half-smile playing on his lips. In your eyes, Mississippi Tang, do I seem like a very petty person? I looked down. That's not what I meant, I mumbled. The next second, a gold-embossed business card was held out to me. You're still an intern, right? There's a job opportunity. Interested? When I got back, my head was still spinning. Kevin grabbed me as soon as I walked in. Are you okay, Anna? I rubbed my aching stomach. Sorry, Kevin. I had stomach surgery a while back, so I can't really drink. He frowned, about to say something. Then his eyes fell on the gold-embossed card in my hand. His eyes widened in disbelief. Is that Mr. Hayes's personal card? I nodded. I thought back to the scene just now. That was his legendary personal card, the one money couldn't buy, a direct line to him. I don't get rewarded for nothing. I looked up warily, remembering to disguise my voice. Why would Mr. Hayes give such a valuable opportunity to an unknown reporter like me? He gave a slight smile. Maybe, I just like the look of you. That did sound like a very Leo reason. In the 2 years I took care of him, we eventually grew closer. He would show flashes of his rebellious, untamed temper with me. Especially, at certain moments. I gritted my teeth, swallowing the soft sounds caught between my lips, and tugged at his hair. You can't see, so stop moving around. In the dim light. The boy lifted his head slightly. His soft bangs brushed against his unfocused eyes. He licked his lips, his fingers pressing lightly against my neck. He whispered, "The other parts work just fine. So, you need to be a little louder. Let me hear you." I snapped back to reality and made up some excuse for Kevin. The next day at the office, my boss called me in. He said pleasantly, "Anna, there's that popular live relationship talk show. Get ready. You'll be participating as a special guest commentator." But after I started preparing, I found out the guests for the next episode were Olivia Pierce and Leo Hayes. After that press conference, the news of their engagement was plastered all over social media. It was a promotional warm-up for the show. Fans in the comments were shipping them hard. They went through the worst together and now they're meeting at the top. What a beautiful love story. I heard the Pierce family's company was on the verge of collapse, but with the Hayes Corporation's support, it's back on its feet. Power couple goals. I can't even. I skimmed through the comments and closed the window. The host, Diane, was reviewing the script while chatting with me. "If we can dig up the specific details of those 2 years with Mr. Hayes and his fiancé, the show will be a huge hit." I gripped my pen and quietly agreed. Every single detail of what happened in those 2 years. I knew them better than anyone. But I could never say a word. Thanks to the Hayes family's resources and connections, Olivia was now a top-tier actress. As the show began, millions of viewers flooded the live stream. Under the spotlight, I heard Diane ask, "We hear that you and Leo are already talking about marriage. Could you share some of your journey with us?" Olivia turned to look at him, smiling softly. I never once believed all those rumors and slander against him. In my eyes, Leo has always been the one I love most. She gazed at him affectionately, her eyes so full of tenderness they could have dripped water. But Leo just lowered his gaze and smiled. "Liar. Remember how you couldn't stand me when I first went blind? Have you forgotten all that?" Olivia froze. She shot a venomous look in my direction. But in front of the cameras, she could only force a smile. "I don't really remember. I suppose as our love grew stronger, I only remember the sweet parts." I glanced at the live chat scrolling behind me. The screen was filled with comments like "so sweet." I put down my script, gripped the microphone, and directed a question at Leo. "It seems you two have differing views. Perhaps there's more to the story? Why don't you tell us how you managed to work through it?" I thought he wouldn't answer. But after a moment of silence, Leo spoke. "When my eyes first went, I was devastated. I hated the whole world, and I didn't like her. She was out early and back late every day, and still had to take care of me in her spare time. One day, she was so exhausted she left fish stewing on the stove, forgot to turn it off, and went downstairs to buy salt. By the time she came back, the kitchen was on fire. My throat felt like it was clogged with something. In a daze, I felt like I was back on that evening. The heat from the flames still lingered in the air. I dragged Leo out of the room. Grabbing his collar, I slapped him across the face and asked viciously, "Do you want to die?" My whole body, and my voice, were shaking. He didn't argue back like he usually did. Instead, he was silent for a long, long time before asking in a hoarse voice, "Wouldn't it be better if I died? Wouldn't that be a relief for you?" It was in that moment, I think, I suddenly realized. The once high and mighty young heir of the Hayes family was now nothing more than a broken little puppy, all bark and no bite. So, catching my breath, I pushed him back into the room. The fire-licked walls were scorched black. I undid his buttons one by one and whispered, "I don't have dinner now. You can be my compensation." He seemed to realize something. "Are you sure?" My forceful kiss cut off the rest of his words. "Leo Hayes, I don't think you're a burden." That night, it felt like the world had turned upside down, and only the two of us existed. And now, he was bringing it all up again. But the intimate fiancée sitting beside him was Olivia. The whole world thought those were their memories. A suffocating bitterness exploded in my heart. From so close, a familiar yet strange scent from Leo enveloped me, silent and overwhelming. It was everywhere. But it no longer belonged to me. He paused, and amid the applause from the live audience, he finished. I'll never forget the moonlight that night. It was bright enough to see everything clearly. I couldn't see, but she described it to me all night. I gripped my pen, hurrying to lower my head. My eyes ached. Because I changed the questions on the fly, we uncovered a lot of things no one knew before. The interview was a massive success. By the end of the show, the number of viewers had broken 10 million. For the first time, details about the powerful Hayes heir's mysterious past had been revealed. Everyone was ecstatic. Backstage, Diane clapped me on the shoulder. You're a true journalist. Those last-minute questions were so sharp, he had no choice but to answer. But then she turned and saw Leo and Olivia walking over. Her voice died in her throat. Leo's indifferent gaze swept over to me. Did you prepare today's questions? I nodded. Olivia said, her words laced with veiled threats, Mississippi Tang, you certainly know how to hit where it hurts. But let me remind you, you need to maintain basic professional ethics. Don't go coveting things you don't deserve. I didn't say anything. I just looked back at Leo. His expression was cold as he said flatly, Mississippi Tang is very capable. From now on, you'll be the point person for all media relations with our company. Olivia's head snapped towards me. Her eyes were filled with undisguised fear and hatred. She cornered me where no one could see, her eyes wary and disgusted. Anna Tang, you really are insatiable. You took my money back then. What are you doing back here now? I looked at her calmly. I graduated. I came back to work. It was a simple statement. Work? Anna Tang, do you think I'm stupid? She suddenly went ballistic, throwing her purse at me. Get lost. Tell him you're voluntarily giving up the position, or I'll make sure you don't see another peaceful day in your life. Her Hermes bag hit the floor, the clasp popping open and spilling its contents everywhere. I ignored it and turned to leave. Olivia was true to her word. Suddenly, I started hitting walls everywhere. Several job opportunities that should have been mine were given to other people at the last minute. One evening, just before quitting time, my boss called me into his office. Next month, there's a very important annual development conference. You'll be the host. I was stunned for a moment, then he added. Mr. Hayes personally requested you. After work. A very familiar Rolls-Royce was parked across the street from my office. The window rolled down, revealing Leo's impassive face. Since you're so curious about my past, Mississippi Tang, why don't you come and ask me yourself? I looked down. I have no intention of prying into your private life, Mr. Hayes. It was just for work. Even if it's for work, I gave you my personal card. You could have contacted me to ask. I pressed my lips together. There was no need. Because in that moment, I suddenly realized it had been 3 years. He was the powerful Mr. Hayes. Not that hot-tempered little puppy who, after being scolded, would pitifully cling to me for kisses and comfort. The Pierce family was in decline. Without Leo's tacit approval and indulgence, Olivia would never dare to target me so openly. Perhaps. To him, that past was actually a disgrace he didn't want brought up. I started to walk away. But Leo called out. Stop. He pushed open the car door, his long legs striding out to block my path. Mississippi Tang, can we talk? I clutched my bag to my chest and asked in a hoarse voice, what does Mr. Hayes want to talk about? Leo's lips curved into a smile. His gaze, now fixed on me, held a hint of helplessness. About work. Is that okay? For the next couple of weeks. Leo came to see me twice more. To go over the major announcements for the conference. Finally, as if he'd just remembered something, he handed me a document. This is a major tourism project that hasn't been announced yet, a direct partnership with the state. You can announce it at the conference as your own exclusive scoop. I was silent for a moment. I took it and said thank you. Kevin found out and kept trying to persuade me. It feels like Mr. Hayes really appreciates you. Maybe you should subtly mention how Olivia is sabotaging you? I edited my host script and smiled faintly. No need. Is he really going to make things difficult for his own fiancé over a reporter he barely knows? On the day of the conference, the venue was packed. The seat in the center, meant for Leo, was empty. Under the flash of countless cameras, I was announcing several of the Hayes Corporation's upcoming major partnerships. Suddenly, a reporter I didn't recognize stood up and shouted at me. "Where did you steal this top-secret information?" My face went cold. My collaboration with the Hayes Corporation is through completely legitimate, official channels. Legitimate? Does someone who sleeps their way to the top even have the right to say that word? He yelled, and I have proof. Someone walked onto the stage. It was Olivia. She stared at me and sighed softly. "Anna Tang, it's normal for a little reporter like you to be drawn to Leo. I was going to leave you with some dignity, but you really are shameless." The large screen behind me suddenly switched from the PowerPoint to several explicit photos. And the person in the photos was me. "You sent him these pictures, you showed up at his hotel room door in a slip dress in the middle of the night, and here's the security footage of you checking into a hotel with your boss." As she spoke, the screen changed again. In front of a dimly lit hotel, my boss and I were walking in side by side. "You're a serial offender." Amid the uproar, the main doors of the hall swung open. A impeccably dressed Leo strode in, his sharp gaze sweeping across the entire room. It passed over my face without a flicker of recognition. My heart sank. The stage lights pinned me down, like some kind of public execution. The audience erupted in murmurs. "Doing something like that, she's a disgrace to our profession. So sleazy, it's disgusting. She has no professional ethics at all. She should be blacklisted." I didn't look at anyone. I just stared intently at Leo. I watched him look at Olivia and ask coolly, "What did you just say?" Olivia's eyes instantly welled up, tears threatening to fall. "Leo, she's been fooling you. She deliberately pretended to be an interviewer to get close to you, just to steal confidential information and harm the Hayes Corporation. She even got this hosting opportunity through the casting couch." Leo was silent for a moment, then looked at me. "Do you have anything to say?" What did I have to say? I could feel the hatred and smug satisfaction in Olivia's eyes as she looked at me. It all felt incredibly absurd. She was only 2 years older than me. We were full-blooded sisters, from the same mother and father. After our mom died, we should have been the closest people to each other in the entire world. A mocking smile played on my lips. I gripped the microphone and spoke. "What I want to say is, Mr. Hayes, your fiancé is spouting lies and deliberately spreading rumors. If you're going to stand by and watch her twist the truth and fabricate facts because you love her, then I will write about this in today's press release. The public has eyes. A project developed by a decision maker with such a skewed sense of right and wrong probably can't be trusted. Whether it was the rebellious young heir of the past, or the famously decisive powerhouse he was rumored to be now. Such a blatant threat should have angered him. But he just walked up onto the stage, step by step, through the lights. He stood at the same height, facing me. He called my name in a very soft voice. Anna Tang. A sudden, sharp pang of sorrow filled my heart. I didn't want to hear him defend Olivia. I turned my head away and said, word by word, "All the accusations made against me are baseless rumors. I have only had professional interactions with Ms. Pierce's fiancé, Mr. Hayes, and no private contact whatsoever." No contact? Before I could finish, Leo's voice cut me off. "You gave me this ring. Are you telling me you're not going to take responsibility for me?" I froze, my head snapping back to look at him. He raised his left hand, revealing the utterly plain silver ring on his ring finger. The material was cheap, the craftsmanship mediocre. But thanks to its owner's meticulous care, it shone brilliantly under the lights. That ring seemed to instantly drag me back into a memory from 4 years ago. That day was supposed to be Leo's 19th birthday. For the first 18 years of his life, every birthday had been an extravagant, lively affair. Only this time, he was so down on his luck that I was the only one with him. To cheer him up, I worked for 2 days straight between revising my thesis. With the couple $100 I earned, I bought a pair of cheap couple's rings. When I got back, I grabbed his hand and put it on for him. Leo couldn't see, but he could feel it. His ears turned red, but he still tried to act tough. "What's this?" I teased him. A couple was fighting on the street and threw their stuff. I waited around and picked up this ring. "Hope you don't mind, young master." "Don't call me that." His Adam's apple bobbed. He carefully cupped the cheap silver ring in his hand. "I like it even if you picked it up off the street. Because you gave it to me." He was true to his word. In the days that followed, he wore that ring even in our most intimate moments. He would even ask in a husky voice, "Do you feel it? It's the love you gave me. Relax, you'll scratch yourself." Only in those moments would he reveal a hint of the carefree, untamed spirit of the young heir he once was. Snapping out of my memories, Leo was closing in on me, step by step. "Answer me, Anna Tang." "There's nothing to say." I clutched the hem of my dress and said in a low voice, "Mr. Hayes, you have the wrong person. Isn't this ring the token of affection your fiancé, Ms. Pierce, gave you?" He scoffed. "I never said where this ring came from. How do you know so much about it?" As he spoke, he was standing right in front of me. So close, there was no escape. The audience below whispered among themselves. What does he mean? Is Mr. Hayes saying the person who was with him during his downfall was actually that young reporter? Then what's the deal with Olivia Pierce? You know, now that you mention it, they really do look alike. Olivia stared at me with pure hatred in her eyes. But she had to soften her tone to coax Leo. "Leo, don't let her fool you. This person is a known liar, she has a record." I closed my eyes, forcing down the torrent of emotions. When I opened them again, I could look at him with perfect calm. "Yes, I gave it to you. Back then, I took money to impersonate Olivia Pierce. I fooled you for 2 years. Then I took the money and left. I've forgotten all about what happened. Since you thought it was Olivia from the start and you're already engaged to her, what's the point of correcting things now?" I couldn't say any more. I swallowed the sob catching in my throat and took a few deep breaths. I put down the microphone, intending to leave. The moment I turned, my wrist was grabbed. The familiar, scorching heat of his palm spread through my skin. His voice was a low murmur. "Of course, there's a point. You said that as long as I wore the ring you gave me, you'd recognize me no matter where I went. Does that still count?" My eyelashes fluttered violently. I looked down, burying all my emotions deep in my throat. I pried his fingers off one by one, pulling my hand free. When I looked up again, my expression was cold. I forgot. I was lying. During my years studying abroad, I often thought of Leo. In the winter of his 19th year, right before he was about to return to the Hayes family. We were at the absolute peak of our passionate romance. The winter in the northern city was so dry that even kissing would create a tiny, stinging spark of static electricity. It wasn't that I hadn't thought about telling him the truth. There were so many moments, lost in passion. He would kiss my ear and whisper my name, Olivia. "Olivia, don't leave me." It was like a bucket of ice water being poured over my head. In that moment, I suddenly understood. From the very beginning, I had come to him with an ulterior motive, impersonating someone else. Leo had once told me, when I was a kid, my cousin tricked me into a closet, locked the door, and I almost died in there. In my whole life, the thing I hate most is being lied to. If he knew the truth, would he hate me to his very core? Just before Leo's 20th birthday, the old patriarch of the Hayes family fell gravely ill and accidentally learned the truth about what had happened years ago. Leo had been framed from the start, even the car accident was planned. He sent people to contact Olivia, wanting to bring Leo back home. Olivia came to see me. She was already a famous actress by then, her chin held high as she looked down on me. Now that the Hayes family wants him back, you're not still dreaming of marrying into wealth, are you? Stop dreaming. Whether it's the Hayes family or Leo himself, the only person they recognize is me, Olivia Pierce. From the beginning, you were just a cheap knockoff. She pulled a check from her purse and threw it at me. Here's another 100,000. Stop dreaming impossible dreams. Otherwise, I'll tell everyone what happened back then. I snapped my head up and glared at her. Olivia, Mom was your mother too. My mother is the daughter of the Pierce family. What was she? She sneered. Just a prostitute. The sun was setting that day. The light was blood red. I lost control, grabbed Olivia by the collar, and punched her twice, hard. Amid her screams, someone rushed in from outside, twisted my arms, and pinned me to the floor. The glamorous actress stood before me, looking down at me condescendingly. Was I wrong? Take the money and get the hell out of the country. Don't be an eyesore. Otherwise, I'll have someone carve all her old scandals onto her tombstone. She left. I stared at the check that had fluttered to the floor. I thought back to 2 years ago. My mother's illness had left us with a lot of debt. After she passed, I couldn't even afford a decent burial plot. Right at that time, Olivia contacted me. You need money? She didn't even let me finish, just scoffed. She only raised me for a few years. She's dead, so what? Why should I give her money? I thought she was just resentful and tried to explain. She wanted custody of you back then, but you were the one crying to go with Dad. Of course I wanted to go to the Pierce family with Dad. Do you think I'm as stupid as you? Olivia's face hardened, cutting me off. What, did you want me to stay here with you, to live the same poor, pathetic life where you can't even afford a grave when you die? I looked at the Olivia in front of me. All the words caught in my throat, I couldn't get a single one out. Her face, so similar to mine yet covered in exquisite makeup, was filled with impatience and disgust. The silk dress, the diamond necklace, the crocodile leather bag on her arm. Any one of those items was worth an unimaginable fortune to me. She picked up her coffee and took a slow sip. Finally, she stated her purpose. But, seeing as we're sisters. If you want money, I guess I can give it to you. $100,000. You impersonate me and take care of someone. What was supposed to be a press conference had devolved into a farce. Seeing the increasingly strange looks she was getting from the crowd. Some people even turned their microphones and cameras on her. Miss Pierce, is what Mr. Hayes just said true? Was the person who stayed with him during his darkest days really not you, but that reporter, Miss Tang? Are you admitting that all your previous accusations were lies? She couldn't argue, so she looked to Leo for help. Leo, you know me best. I've been with you for so many years, how could I do something like this? Leo looked down at her from the stage and smiled. Don't be afraid. You have concrete evidence, don't you? The lawyers are already here. Everything that happened today will be recorded as official testimony. His voice was gentle and low, almost soothing. But Olivia looked as if she'd seen a monster, and her whole body started to tremble. The conference was obviously over. I gathered my notes and walked off the stage. Leo followed silently behind me. It's raining outside. Let me give you a ride. The rain was pouring down in sheets. I thought for 3 seconds and decided not to make myself suffer. As I settled into Leo's Rolls-Royce, I glanced over and saw a secret joy in his eyes. But when I took out my phone, I saw that the events of the press conference had already been broadcast live. It was trending. Under several hashtags, netizens were arguing fiercely. So Olivia Pierce stole the credit from that reporter? How shameless can you be? What do you mean stole? This woman slept her way to the top. Who knows who's really lying? Confirmed, those nudes were photoshopped. Even if they were real, she was paid to do a job from the start. The job's done, the money's taken. What does she have to complain about? Am I the only one who feels bad for Leo Hayes? Both women are terrible, they were both lying to him. Something suddenly clenched in my chest. I quickly shut off my phone and turned to look out the window. The rain streamed down the glass like tiny rivers. It blurred the rapidly receding city lights into a kaleidoscope of colors. Compared to 3 years ago, the city's scenery hadn't changed at all. But between me and Leo, everything had been turned upside down. Back then, the Hayes family had hired the most renowned specialist. After 2 surgeries, Leo finally regained his sight. The bodyguards Olivia had hired at great expense watched me 24/7. They were terrified I would go see Leo and tell him the truth. And yet, on the day he regained his sight, those same men brought me to the hospital. Through the door of his room, I couldn't see Leo. But I could hear his insecure voice. Olivia. Leo, I'm here, Olivia said in a low voice. I was so worried about you. Her deliberately altered voice was almost identical to mine. Leo didn't notice anything wrong. He just sounded a little unhappy. You said you'd be the first person I saw when I got my sight back. You broke your promise. I didn't listen to the rest. A sharp pain surged through my heart, almost consuming me. From the very beginning, in Leo's world, the person who had been with him for those 2 years was Olivia Pierce. Not me. Not Anna Tang. Olivia's bodyguards dragged me into a nearby waiting room. A short while later, she walked in, heels clicking on the floor. Her makeup was, as always, flawless. Only the lipstick on her mouth was smudged. Leo kissed me. He really loves me, he can't live without me. She said it while reapplying her makeup, her voice slow and deliberate. You took good care of him these past 2 years. But to him, I was the one who did everything. A person of your low status could never, ever have anything to do with him. Where are you going? Home. Leo's voice suddenly broke through my memories. I lowered my head slightly. Could you take me to the office, Mr. Hayes? I still have some work to do. Instead of starting the car, he leaned over, one hand on the steering wheel. He looked almost hurt. Anna, do you really have to call me by such a formal name? The familiar scent of him, so close. Mixed with the clean smell of rain, it wrapped around me. It almost dragged me back into 1,000 past memories. In that moment, I suddenly decided I couldn't take it anymore. I pushed him away and looked at him coldly. What should I call you then? Young master? Leo? Do you want me to scream Olivia's name at you when I'm hurt trying to protect you, just like 3 years ago? He fell silent. Those 2 years are over. The person you have an engagement with, from start to finish, is Olivia. Your life is back on track, so why are you bothering me? But this isn't my track. Leo looked at me, his eyes gradually turning red. I had never even met Olivia before. From the very beginning, the only person I recognized was you. A dense pain welled up in my heart. I closed my eyes, and when I spoke, my voice trembled uncontrollably. You're still lying to me. Leo, the day you got your sight back, I was right outside the hospital room door. I heard you accept Olivia as me without a single doubt. You hugged her, you kissed her. He cut me off abruptly. I didn't. The first second I opened my eyes, I knew she wasn't you. I was suddenly stunned. I heard Leo's deceptively calm voice. The situation with the Hayes family is complicated. In that hospital room that day, there was more than one monster who wanted me dead. So the moment I realized she wasn't you, I made a decision. Olivia was the best, most perfect shield. He curled his lip, a sharp glint in his smiling eyes. She likes to impersonate people, doesn't she? Well, she could have the role for good. Flashes of news reports I'd seen while studying abroad suddenly came to mind. One said Olivia was nearly killed in a real explosion on a film set. Another said she was seriously injured by a falling billboard while traveling with Leo. I didn't ignore you on purpose. A lot has happened these past 3 years. After my grandfather passed away, one by one, members of the Hayes family came out of the woodwork, trying to kill me. But now they're either in jail or in the ground. That even includes my own mother. It's not that I was afraid of dying. When my cousin was forced to give up his shares, he went crazy and stabbed me. I didn't even feel the pain. In that moment, I just really missed you. The parking lot was silent. In the dim light of the car, he took off his suit jacket and unbuttoned his white shirt, one by one. He revealed the scar near his heart. The Hayes family is a mess. Taking it over wasn't easy. But it's okay. After today, Olivia and the last of the forces supporting her are finished. The entire Hayes fortune, including me, can be yours. He moved closer, inch by inch, gazing at me from a breath away. In the past, his eyes were always a hazy, unfocused gray. Now, they were so bright they seemed to hold the entire universe of stars. I swallowed and whispered, "But you and Olivia already." I never kissed her. Not once, he said, his tone slightly forceful. I'm clean, Anna, you can check for yourself. With just that one sentence, the last thread of my rationality snapped. As I lunged for his collar, a flood of passionate memories rushed back. His lowest point was also the most turbulent and uncertain 2 years of my life. All those reckless, unchanneled emotions. In the end, they all transformed into the desperate passion between us. On the reclined car seat, I tugged on the tie looped around Leo's bare neck, just like in countless reconciliations after our fights. I pulled it tighter, bit by bit. Amid the slight feeling of suffocation, Leo narrowed his eyes and let out a satisfied sigh. I missed you so much. He held me, burying his face in the crook of my neck, his hot palm rubbing my side again and again. They're so stupid. How could that docile, obedient vase ever be you? No one could ever fake being you. His usually cool, sharp voice was now filled with lust. By the time the storm passed, it was late at night. Leo drove the car to a villa. His slightly disheveled tie still hung around his neck, which was marked with fresh red lines. I took out my phone and saw a news story trending with a bright red breaking tag. Olivia Pierce taken in for questioning. Last month, my half-brother contacted her. He threatened her with her secrets and made her steal bidding documents and other confidential files from me. I was silent for a moment, then said softly, I know. You know. Leo turned his head sharply. Did you arrange it, Anna? I nodded, digging my nails into my palm, forcing myself to look at him. I came back this time to destroy the Pierce family, to destroy Olivia, and to overturn the false case they built against my mother 20 years ago. For that outcome, I was willing to pay any price. This was the most important reason I went into media. 20 years ago, because she had her eyes on my father. The young Mississippi Pierce set up my mother, accusing her of being a prostitute. And the very young Olivia, to live the life of a rich girl, sided with outsiders. She personally pushed her own mother into the abyss. My mom was detained for 15 days and lost her job. When she came home, all the neighbors pointed fingers at her, siding with my dad. After my parents divorced, my mom, carrying that shameful reputation, took me and fled back to the countryside. She was depressed and died of illness just after her 50th birthday. And the day she died, the news on the hospital TV was about the Pierce family. They were described as a model family, with a loving couple and successful children. It's so ridiculous. When my mom died, she weighed less than 100 pounds, her hands were covered in blue and purple needle marks. She could have lived a long, long life. The Pierce family's business isn't clean either. They've hurt so many people. How dare they call themselves a model family? I covered my eyes, forcing back the surge of tears. Leo, I used you. I knew you wouldn't let a betrayal slide, so I pushed her to deliberately cross your lines. If you feel hurt by this, if you hate me for it, that's fine. But I had to be the one to send her to hell. I suppressed all my emotions, forcing myself to look at him as calmly as possible. But, Anna, your hands are shaking. Leo took the hand I had hidden behind my back, brought it carefully to his lips, and kissed it. Don't be scared. The fact that you used me makes me happy. It means I'm on your mind. Of course, I'll be on your side. I told you, the entire Hayes fortune, including me, is yours. The news of Olivia being taken in for questioning was a hot topic on social media for 3 days. The Pierce family tried to suppress the story and came to Leo for help. He sat behind his desk, listened to their plea, and laughed. Your story is very moving. But as for how to handle this, I'm sorry, my fiancé has to make that decision. My father and his wealthy wife turned to see me. Their expressions changed instantly. I gave them a small smile. You two should start preparing. Because soon, you'll be joining her. Leo held a press conference to clarify his relationship with Olivia. When questioned, he said with a half smile. Fiancé? I never admitted it was her. I was always talking about the one who took care of me back then. Someone asked, but didn't she only take care of you because she was paid by Olivia Pierce? Leo's lips were still smiling, but his eyes turned cold, inch by inch. I'd advise you to choose your words carefully. There are plenty of rich people in the world. Why did she only take money to take care of me? It's because she loves me. The reporter fell silent. Sitting next to him, I also fell silent. After the press conference, I released the audio recordings from when she first came to me. A blind man, and a cast-off from a rich family? Who would want to take care of him? She only raised me for a few years. She's dead, so what? Why should I give her money? Did you want me to stay here with you, to live the same poor, pathetic life where you can't even afford a grave when you die? The public was in an uproar. No way, I thought her whole brand was being an elegant, generous actress. So she and Anna Tang are real sisters, and she was the one who asked the other to take her place. Her outfits are worth millions, but she wouldn't even pay for her own mother's grave. That's disgusting. Riding the wave of public opinion, I started a live stream. In front of millions of people, I told the truth about what happened 20 years ago. The Pierce family's daughter, Jean, wanted my father. Instead of just getting a divorce, they conspired to frame my mother, to make her live out her life in shame and disgrace. Standing behind me was a timid man with a buzz cut. During my graduate studies and internship, I had searched everywhere, putting in a huge amount of effort. I finally found him through a colleague from my program. He had a history of petty theft and had been in and out of jail. That whole thing back then, Jean Pierce put me up to it. Miss Tang's mother was completely innocent. Her own daughter tricked her into going to a dinner party at the Pierce's house. She drank too much, and I helped her to a room and slipped a stack of cash under her pillow. Jean had called the police ahead of time. Before my deliberately intoxicated mother could even sober up, the door was kicked down by the vice squad. Even today, it's easy to frame a woman, to spread sexual rumors, to label her a slut. Imagine what it was like back then. I studied journalism and work in media, but not just for this one case. I will dedicate the rest of my life to clearing the names of all the girls and women who have been wronged and slandered. That live stream was the final nail in the coffin for the Pierce family. Their business practices had never been clean. With the current crackdown, they were caught in the crossfire. It was never me supporting them. It was my dear half-brother, Leo said. We just had some project collaborations, which can be easily withdrawn. Don't worry about it affecting me. I finally felt relieved. I submitted all the evidence I had collected over the years to the police. Thanks to Leo cutting ties with those people so cleanly after taking over the Hayes Corporation, he wasn't implicated. The day the Pierce family completely fell. I brought a bouquet of flowers and took Leo to the cemetery to visit my mom. In the photo on her tombstone, her smile was as gentle as ever. But it always carried a hint of sadness. She was a kind, gentle woman who truly loved my father. And because of that, she could never move on. Right before she died, she was lying in her hospital bed, gripping my hand, telling me not to blame Olivia. She said, "Your sister isn't a true Pierce. Life must be very difficult for her there." She didn't know. For all those years, Olivia had constantly belittled and shamed her. It was how she gained favor with Jean and slowly secured her footing in the Pierce family. From the day she was brought into that family, she had started to rot. I gently traced the photo on the tombstone with my fingertips. "Mom, no one will ever think you were wrong about what happened. I have a good career now, and I have a boyfriend." Leo, standing beside me, corrected me in a low voice, "Fiancé." "All right, fiancé." I subconsciously twisted the silver ring on my left ring finger, the one that matched Leo's. After I went abroad, I had hidden it at the bottom of a suitcase. I thought I would never have the chance to wear it again. I arranged the flowers in front of the tombstone, stood up, and bowed. When I turned around, Leo was gazing at me. "Anna, go wait for me in the car. I want to have a word with your mom alone." The autumn night air was cool. I waited in the car for a long time before I saw Leo return. His black overcoat was damp with dew, making the lines of his jaw seem even sharper. I turned to him and asked, "What did you say to my mom?" He started the car. It was a long moment before he spoke. "I just thanked her for bringing you into this world. Otherwise, I would have died in the summer of 5 years ago, at the lowest point of my life." Once the dust settled, I was officially hired and even got a small promotion. I started handling my own interview assignments. My first one was about a high school girl who had been bullied by a group of rich kids for over a year. She had jumped from the school's rooftop. Those kids' families are rich and powerful. No one wants to mess with them. My boss looked at me, hesitating. "If you don't want to take it." "Of course, I'm going." I took the file. "Actually, I'm working on a proposal for an anti-bullying campaign on this very topic. I'll send it to you this afternoon for review." It was a rare opportunity. Leo was now rich and powerful. With him backing me, of course I was going to use it. The interview, along with the subsequent anti-bullying campaign I planned, kept me busy for the better part of a month. I barely saw Leo at all. He would send me 20 texts, and I'd only have time to reply with a single emoji while scarfing down a sandwich and monitoring public opinion. One night, he said he had a surprise for me and that I absolutely had to come home. I pushed open the door. The night sky was full of sparkling stars. In the steamy room, he was propped up on the bed, panting like a puppy and looking at me. His gaze was clingy, wrapped around my body. "Anna, you've been neglecting me for a long time." I stared at him for a long while, long enough to make the formidable Mr. Hayes's ears turn red, before I took off my camera strap and tossed it to him. "Tie yourself up." My voice was hoarse from being out all day. "I'm going to take a shower." Leo was very obedient. When I came out, toweling my dripping hair, he had everything arranged. Only a small lamp was left on by the bed, and moonlight flowed in like melted ice water. Even so, it couldn't cool down the humid heat in the room. "Anna, kiss me. You're too tense. Let me out a little." Every word, woven together with his desire-filled gaze, was pure seduction. By the time the storm passed, it was the dead of night, the sky already starting to lighten. I suddenly remembered something. I have to go out of town next month for a very important interview. It's about a young girl in a rural mountain area who's been collectively abused by the villagers for a long time. She walked a whole night through the mountains just to get to an internet cafe in town to contact me. The place is pretty backward, and the local powers are deeply entrenched. It'll probably be hard to get a foothold, so I'll be staying there for a while. His hand tightened on the prominent bones of my back. It'll be dangerous. So be it. I said it nonchalantly, turning over to sit up and light a cigarette. Seeing him staring at me, I offered a few words of comfort. I'll do my best to protect myself. But this kind of thing is part of our mission and duty as journalists. Leo was silent for a moment. Suddenly, he said, I'm going with you. But don't you have an important contract to negotiate next week? It can be postponed. Why? There's really no need, MMPH. I tried to reason with him. But the rest of my words were smothered by Leo's passionate kiss. The kiss traveled down, stopping at the most sensitive spot on my neck, his breath hot and wet. He said in a hoarse voice. Because I'm your most loyal shield. You just go chase your dreams. I'll be there to protect you.